All right. So let me tell you a little bit about what we do and how we help our clients. So the first thing that we do is we want to help our clients identify whatever goals and objectives they have. This is very important because whatever those are, whether it is buying a home, saving for retirement, saving for college, any financial goal, we want to make sure that it's congruent with their values, with their passions, and whatever it is that they want to do. You see, the role of the financial advisor is really to work with you and for you for whatever goals you want to accomplish. So we want to make sure that whatever goals you have, whatever it is that you want to achieve, it happens and we achieve this in the most efficient way possible. This is very important because it's not just about putting a bunch of money together so that you can go ahead and spend the money, right? For us, it's really about building wealth. In other words, I want my clients to be wealthy. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by wealthy? For me, somebody that is actually wealthy is somebody that actually is able to, at some point, to be able to live out of his or her assets. Meaning that you don't have to go to work anymore to be able to sustain the lifestyle that you want to have. Now, that may or may not be your goal right now, but that's the definition that we put as wealthy. So again, I want to make sure that whatever goals we put together, whatever it is that you want to achieve, we always do it with this mindset of maximum efficiency and also with this idea of building wealth. So the way our industry has gone about this, helping people build wealth and achieve financial objectives, they have done this with focusing on two areas. One is savings, and the other one is investing. Now, these two areas are incredibly important. We definitely talk about those all the time. They definitely should be part of your financial life. But our industry has focused so much on those two areas that they have forgotten about the third one, a third power that is potentially even more profitable and more helpful for our clients to build wealth. And that is banking. You see, so one of the concepts that I share with my clients is a concept that I like to call opportunity cost. So what do I mean by that? What's opportunity cost? Let me give you an example of that. All of us think of money as a one-way street, right? I either have my money or I transfer and give my money to somebody else when I spend it. In other words, money can only do one thing at a time. In reality, money has the potential to do many things at the same time. But what happens with saving and investing is that if I'm putting my money here or here, it can only do one thing. And in doing so, I don't take advantage of other properties and other things that my money can do. Or if I spend my money, I'm also experiencing a loss of control of that money. So let's say, for example, that we go down the street and we're gonna buy a cup of coffee, okay? And let's say the cup of coffee is gonna be $5. So as we do that, as we buy this cup of coffee that is gonna cost us $5, in principle, we're not only losing the $5 and giving those $5 in exchange for a cup of coffee. We're losing those $5 plus any future interest of equity we could have earned on those $5 forever. Right? So banking is not a product, it's a financial position, it's a strategy. It's a way of understanding money as a multiplier, meaning that money can do different things at the same time. Meaning that I want to be able to utilize my money, but yet retain the ability to continue to earn equity on that money. And we call it banking because that's exactly what banks do. So you want to have that, you want to keep that idea, you want to keep that power, in other words, with you in order to build wealth. So what ends up happening is that we earn all this money throughout our lives, and we spend it out in bills or this or that, and we actually never get to see any of it. So let me give you an example of what I mean. I want you to think of the average American, right? So let's say the average American today is earning $70,000 per year. Let's just say, okay? And let's say this average person is going to work for 30 years. So if we multiply these 3 by 7, that means that this person is going to earn $2.1 million in his or her lifetime. So this person will be a millionaire, right? But what happens with most people is that they earn all this money, and unfortunately, for the most part, at the end, when everything is said and done, they have very little to show for it. Again, because as the money comes in and we spend it, we are transferring it, we're giving it away. So this idea of wealth transfers is very important for us to point out, because as we do that, we lose control of our money. So I don't know how old you are or how long you've been working, but doesn't matter. I want you to think of all the money that you have earned in the past, and also I want you to think about all the money that you will ever earn in the future. And let's assume for this example that all that money fits in their circle. And there is indeed a limit of how much money you can earn. In economics, we call this the principle of scarcity, meaning that not all of us can have everything at the same time. There is a limited amount of resources that we all have access to at a given time. So there is indeed a limit of how much money you can earn. The decision you need to make, though, is how much of the money do you get to keep? So for the average American, the average person is going to spend between 30 to 35% of every single dollar they will ever earn paying taxes. And that is FICA taxes. So if you guys are W-2 employed, you see that coming out of every paycheck. It's about 15.2%. You got to pay income tax, federal income tax. And that can be anywhere between 10 to 37%, I believe. And then if you are in a state like mine, instead of California, you got to pay state tax. You may have a sales tax in your region, and so on and so on. Property tax, there's all kinds of fees, taxes. So on the average person is going to spend 30 to 35% of every single dollar they earn paying taxes. That's a tremendous amount of wealth being transferred. Also, the average person is going to spend another 25 to 30% of every single dollar they earn servicing debt. So this could be student loan debt, this could be mortgage debt, this could be personal loans, this could be credit cards. There's all kinds of debt that we always paying pretty much for most of our lifetimes, right? So again, another big chunk of every single dollar will ever earn being transferred to somebody else. So lastly, the last 30 to 35% of every single dollar you will earn, that is your lifestyle. That is your vacations, your wedding, all your traveling, presents for Christmas for all your friends. Every single thing that we do outside of our taxes and debt happens here in this third. So what our industry teaches us, what the average financial advisor is going to do, is going to approach you and say, hey, you want to achieve financial goals? So what you need to do is to reduce your lifestyle even further, because you got to take a chunk of money from here, right, to be able to say for whatever goals you want to accomplish. Retirement, again, college, buying a new car, buying a home, whatever it is. And right now, we are recommending anywhere between 15 to 20% of your gross income that need to be saved. As you can see based on this diagram, this becomes increasingly impossible to do for the average person, because the cost of living is high, especially in a state like California. but I think it's the same story across the United States. There's less and less money available because most of our money, as you can see, is being transferred to somebody else. And then on top of that, our industry focuses on returns. So we want you to reduce your lifestyle. We want you to reduce it even further because interest rates are so low, so that we can around and try to invest the money to make a big return. And we're always pursuing these big returns. And the goal of this is that this small part of your pie over the next 25 to 30 years replaces the circle so that you can retire successfully. Obviously, this is very hard to do. It's almost mathematically impossible to achieve it. And that is the reason why most people cannot retire successfully. And that is the reason why most people can never actually get to be wealthy and accumulate wealth in the way they want to and actually leave a legacy to their families. This approach is flawed. So, what about if there was a way? What about if I can show you a way where we can, for example, be more efficient? What about if I can show you a way and we can reduce this, let's say, by 10%, right? And also, let's say that we get together and we figure out a way to reduce this by another 10%. Wouldn't you say that I just made you 20% on your money? You see, there is more money in not losing money than in making money. Let me say that again. There is more money in not losing money than in making money. This money, you already earned it. So if we can find a way to prevent you from transferring this money to other people and put this money back to work for your benefit, then that will be a great outcome, wouldn't you say? So once again, just to emphasize this point, all this money in these big areas, these are wealth transfers. And we're paying that opportunity cost because all that 60-70% of money that we're transferring to somebody else, we will never see any equity or any return on that money ever again. So coming full circle, no pun intended, this person who earned over $2 million, how much of that equity will they ever see? Probably zero. And that's true for most people. And that's the challenge that we have here in America. I always tell people that the solution to this problem is to actually pay attention to how we call things. And as you know, we live in a system we call capitalism. And the key word here is capital. The solution to this problem is to teach our clients how to actually accumulate, protect, and conserve or keep as much capital as humanly possible. But this in return creates a problem, which is if I put this money somewhere else, I don't get to use it, right? Well, wrong. And again, that's exactly why we need to talk about banking. This is exactly why we need to talk about banking. Because banking, again, is not a product. It's a financial position. It's a multiplier effect. It's having the ability to have $1 do different things. Let me show you how that works. In the United States, we use a system we call the fractional banking system. We've been using that for a long time, and in fact, most of the world uses this system. So what that means is that when I go to the bank and I deposit $1, that dollar gets multiplied up to 9 times in many different ways. Now, this is not exactly precise, but it's close to it. So the bank receives this money, and as this money is used for other things and also gets deposited in other banks, that money continues to be used for other purposes. So when the bank receives this money, that money can go into a mortgage, it can go into a credit card loan, it also can go into a personal loan, it can go into student loan, it can go into an auto loan, maybe it goes to a business loan. And what the bank does is they are going to charge interest to all these people for the use of your money. And the rate of return is anywhere between 25 to 40% that the bank will get on your money. And then they're gonna pay you interest on that. So I don't know about you, but my savings account pays me 0.01%. So who am I working for? Well, based on this picture, it kind of feels like I'm working for the bank, right? So that's the reason what savings cannot really help us accomplish avoid this problem that I show you up here, right? And the same goes with investing. Investing can potentially provide you with a higher rates of return, but the problem is that the money is not liquid. If I want to keep earning rates of return, if I want my asset to continue to grow and I want my asset to continue to compound, I can get rid of it. Therefore, it's not liquid. I can use it. It's just put away for down the road for a future purpose. Opportunity cost, right? So when I talk about banking for the average person, what we mean by that is I want you to be able to deposit this dollar in an account where this dollar can be used for the benefit of other people and other investments, but where all that return that these investments or assets bring back actually goes to you. And I'm going to give you a hat right there. You see, where you have liquidity, access, use, and control of your money in your own bank, you actually get to capture all these different rates of return, all these different dollars, and this money goes back to you. All right, so what is the solution to this problem? Well, the solution to this problem is to set up your own system, your own structure where you have liquidity, use, and control of your money. Where you have liquidity, the ability to use your money, and the ability to control your capital. And that's the solution. Liquidity, use, and control your capital. But doing so in such a way that does not affect the compounding or your money. So you see, what happened with most people is that they don't realize that everything they do is finance. Literally everything. So you're watching this and you're like, no, Janko, you're mistaken. I don't have any debt. Exactly. Everything you do is finance. Well, no, I'm telling you, I don't have any debt. I don't have any cars. I don't have any loans. I pay everything cash. Exactly. Everything you do is finance. It may not be financed with somebody else's money, but you're financing it with your labor because you have to go and earn this money. This is very important. I'm going to come back to this when I talk about taxes, because we operate under a system where we actually tax people very heavily when they exchange their labor for money, but we don't do so when we actually use capital to grow money. But I'm going to come back to that point in a little bit. What I'm trying to show you here is that, yes, everything we do is finance. So the saver and the debtor are really two sides of the same coin. So what happens here when we need to buy something and we don't want to, let's say, borrow from a bank or something, we're going to save our money, right? And then we get to the point where we have enough money, and then we're going to write a big check and spend the money, and we go back to zero. And then, it can be, for example, buying a car, right? And then, or buying a computer. And then we're going to start saving again the money, and then we get to the top, and then we spend it again. And then we do that one more time, and we keep doing this over and over again. Well, the debtor is doing exactly the same thing, but it's just doing it in the opposite direction, meaning that they're going to borrow the money first, and then they're going to save for it. They're going to pay it back, and then go back to zero. Then they're going to borrow again. They're going to continue to pay it back and go back to zero. And they're going to do it over and over again. So how much equity are both these people going to have in the end? They're going to have zero. None of these two individuals are actually compounding. So what I want for you is I want you to have the ability to save your money and have the ability to spend it, but in such a way that it builds and creates a compounding effect. So you get to this point at the top. That is the idea, to be able to have liquidity, use, and control of my money without affecting my compounding. So let me give you an example of that. So let's say that we have $50,000 in an account, right? Savings account, whatever. And let's say that we need to buy a car. So we're going to take out $30,000 to buy the car. How much we have left? We have left $20,000, right? So next time this account makes interest, let's say, for example, the account's going to make 5% a year. That's going to be 5% of the $20,000 because that's left over. But the problem here is opportunity cost. We're losing the 5% we could have made on the $30,000 that we used to buy the car. This is not efficient. So what I'm proposing to you here is that we set up your own bank where you can have the $50,000. We're gonna go out and buy this car that we need because we need it anyway. There's nothing we can do about that. We're gonna have to buy that car. And how much we have left over? Yeah, we have left over $20,000 that we can use. However, next time we pay interest, that interest is gonna be of your principal, the $50,000. This is banking done the right way. This is efficient. Obviously, 5% of 50,000 is better than 5% of 20,000. And then naturally, if you actually are an honest banker and you actually put your money back into your own bank with interest that is going to you, what's going to happen is you're going to have more money in that bank. And then repeat the process over and over again. And eventually, you're going to have even more money. So, what is my point here? My point here is that by capturing the dollars that we use every day for all kinds of things, by making a decision to institute a banking system for our personal finances, you will be able to retain and control your capital and be able to build true wealth and build a successful future. So if you want to learn more about other examples, if you have any questions about how this is possible and how it will work for you, please go ahead and let the person know who showed you this video, or if you're watching this online, go ahead and connect with us, and then we'll be happy to sit down with you and show you more in detail how this works. Thank you. So this is how we address the opportunity cost problem. And the last thing I want to tell you with this is that we want to do all this in a tax-free environment. Because if we can do all this without adding any liabilities to you and save you 10, 15, 20, 30, 40% on your money just because you don't have to worry about taxes, that obviously is going to make our money grow faster and give us more money in our pockets to spend, and our compounding will be more efficient. So what I mean by a tax-free environment is we want this money to grow tax deferred, meaning that we don't have any capital gains due, no 1099s at the end of every year. Every year we make money, but also we want to have no income tax, both federal and state. So again, if we can continue to compound our money without any interruptions while retaining the ability to use it when we need to finance all the things that we buy, and also we do this in a tax-free environment so that we don't add any liabilities to our lives now and in the future, that is the best environment that we can have in order to grow our money efficiently and build true wealth with full control of our capital and our earning capacity.